episode for you. I'm going to show you a variation that I very much love. It's perfect for the summer. It's beautiful and refreshing. It is what we call tam tang khao pot. Now, tam means to pound. It's a prefix for all papaya salad type dishes. Tang is short for tang gua or cucumber, and khao pot is sweet corn. So it's a salad of corn and cucumber. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to talk about is, of course, our star or our corn. I've got here 1 ear of corn. I have no idea why it's called ear of corn, but basically all you have to do is cook this. Bring a big pot of water to a full boil and boil the corn for 6 minutes. Okay, when the corn comes out, give it a little sprinkle of salt and let it cool completely, and this is what you get. Now, so what you're going to do is just going to slice off the kernels and try your best to keep it in big-ish pieces, because when you go to toss the salad, it's going to crumble even more. Okay, so there's that. And then it's okay if you want to break it up into short pieces like this. I love corn. Okay, and then some cucumber julienne like this. The way I cut it, just to show you, is I get it to this point and I cut it in half. I then remove the seeds for no other reason than the fact that it's more stable to cut this way. And then I just go and cut juliennes from the piece of cucumber. Okay, so I've got that, and then tomatoes. Briefly talk about it. I'm using 1 Roma tomato, but if I cut straight on wedges like this, I find it's a little too big for a salad. So what I like to do is do bias wedges, which basically is like this, and then you turn, and then you turn, and then you turn, and then you keep going, and the wedges become an interesting shape, and it's also a nice bite-sized piece. It's comfortable to eat. Last thing we're going to prep before we start making is our secret ingredient, which is theoretically optional, but I highly, highly recommend it. It is kai kem, or salted duck eggs. It is going to be that creamy, salty burst, the same way crumbled feta cheese is in Greek salad. So if you love tart, tangy cheese over your salad, you're gonna love this one. So what you want to do with this is cut it in half straight through the shell. It's been salted, so the shells are actually really fragile or brittle. So I like to make a crack and then cut right through. Make sure I get all these shells to one side. Then I'm going to scoop out 1 half. Ooh, I love salted egg with congee. I love it with just plain rice. I just love salted eggs. And then I'm going to cut this half into sort of chunks. This is probably good. Okay, so this is for tossing into our salad. Put that there. This half, I'm going to try to get it out as nicely as I can so that I can cut out wedges and put it on top of the salad. Now it's going to be sort of creamy and soft, so it's not if it's not coming out in one nice piece, it's not a big deal. I just like to have bigger pieces so I can put them on top of the salad. So we'll leave that there. All right, so this is the fun part. So my tools for making any som tam type dish is my mortar and pestle. Now, this is different from my heavy-duty stone one that I use in a lot of my other episodes. This is a larger one, and also with a light wooden pestle. And this doesn't matter as much as this. You want a light wooden pestle because you just want to lightly crush. You don't want to pound anything into a curry paste consistency. So this is what I call the light-duty one. Okay, so we're going to first get started with our garlic. Got a couple cloves of garlic and some chilies. Take off the top. My rule of thumb is 1 for mild, 2 for medium, and 3 or more for spicy. Okay, and then just pound this until there are no more chunks. So once you've got that, I'm going to add my palm sugar. And I'm adding the palm sugar early on because I'm using the hard type of palm sugar, which is going to need a little bit of help dissolving. And the sugar doesn't have to completely dissolve, so once you get it to sort of a wet paste like this, that's good enough. And then it'll be gone by the time we're done with it. So after that, I'm going to add my long beans, and I just cut it into little pieces like this on a bias so it's a little prettier. Also, my dried shrimp. Now, dried shrimp I've used in my pad thai. It's in pretty much every kind of som tam type dish, and it's just like bursts of shrimpy chewiness, a really nice boost in umami. When you buy dried shrimp, they come in a lot of different sizes. These are pretty small, and I like to use small ones for papaya salad so they distribute better. If you've got large ones, you don't need to go out and buy a small one. Just give them a rough chop before you add them. Okay, so there goes that, and I'm just going to crush it so that the beans are broken so they can absorb the dressing a little better. Okay, at this point we're going to add all of our dressing ingredients. So I'm going to go in with my fish sauce. Now lime, I'm using a total of 3 tablespoons, and that's about 1 juicy North American size lime. Okay, now with papaya salad, I always like to juice the lime and then throw in the rind into the mortar so that the essential oils, that limey flavor, comes out and gets distributed into the salad as well. But this is a pretty big piece, so I'm just going to cut it real quick so I can throw it in there. Some papaya salad vendors don't even squeeze the lime. They cut the lime into very small slices, throw them in, and then just the act of pounding will juice all the lime. Now we're going to go in with also our tomatoes. And now we're going to be very gentle because we're just going to mix and we're going to lightly crush the tomatoes just so that the juices of the tomatoes come out and mix with everything. And so they're a little bit bruised and they get a chance to absorb all that dressing. So here is what it looks like at this point. Okay, a lot of dressing, lots of juiciness there. The lime is in there infusing its flavor, and the tomatoes are just mushed up enough that the juice is part of the dressing now. This is the moment we're waiting for. Is our main star goes in our corn and our cucumber. And then, oh, I think I added too much corn. For this much, I don't end up using an entire corn. And now we're just going to toss. I'm going to throw this out. Well, I'm not going to throw it out. I'm going to retire it. And I'm just going to toss with my spoon, breaking up the corn pieces so they're smaller pieces, but still in sort of, attached chunks. Ooh, it smells so good already. Awesome. Okay, let me give it a taste real quick. Now for this, remember that the corn itself is already sweet, so you don't want the dressing to be too sweet. So the choice of vegetables that you use will affect sort of the flavor balance of your dressing. So that's something you want to think about. It's not the same dressing for everything. And because I'm adding salted duck eggs, I'm not adding too much fish sauce. So I'm tossing in my chunks of salted duck eggs. By the way, salted duck egg is a pretty common thing for us to have in our som tam. If you've ever heard of tam kai kem, that's what it means. It's papaya salad with kai kem, which is salted duck eggs. Give it a quick toss. And we're done. We're ready to plate. Ooh, gosh, I wish you could smell this. I can really smell the lime. And by the way, you could probably just zest the lime before you juice it if you don't want to throw in, if you think your guests are going to be weirded out by the big chunks of lime. Oh my God, that looks so good. I always want to readjust. See, because I knew all the salted eggs are going to be buried and lost in there. That's why I saved the other half of the salted egg, ever so gently place them on top, just so it's a visual representation of sort of what's in there, so people aren't surprised. And there you go, there's our tam tang khao phot. Now, let me taste it for you.